Okay, so unfortunately 2v8 has officially ended starting last Wednesday. But for those who watch my Twitch, you guys would know that every single time that I'm waiting in killer queue, I make a lot of tier lists just to pass the time because, 40-minute queues. I've made tier lists on how Gucci each killer's shoes are, I've made tier lists on how fast each killer can run a marathon, as well as another tier list about each killer's tear radius music and chase music. Yeah, we really have nothing better to do, don't we? So during one of my queues, I decided to finally make a tier list based off of how each killer performs in specifically the 2v8 format. So after playing a lot of 2v8 for the last 2 weeks, both as survivor and as killer, I played every single killer, both on stream and off stream, and I am pretty comfortable with where I think every killer is. But for the sake of this tier list alone, there are a couple things that I considered priority for making this tier list specifically. The first and foremost is how good is the killer at downing survivors, because you have to down many survivors in 2v8. The easier you have time downing survivors, the better. However, more importantly is how does each killer work well with other killers. So if a killer doesn't work well with other killers, they might go lower, while killers that work better with other killers might go up in the tier list. There are a couple other smaller priorities that I considered, such as skill ceiling, such as slowdown, but for the most part, it's going to be those two big points: how well each killer works with each other, and how good is that killer at downing survivors. Now, of course, this is all subject to opinion. My experience with 2v8 might have been much different from someone else, but this is all from my own experience, and this is all from my own opinion. So if there's anything that you disagree with or you agree with, please let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching. I want to get to 100 subscribers by the beginning of summer. With that, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. I don't think there's a single bad killer in this game mode. B-, we'll do B, and then this will be A-, this will be A, this will be S. Nice. Perfect. There we go. That is indeed it. Alright, so these are all the killers in 2v8. Everyone else, ignore it. Everyone else, ignore it. We're going to start from the top and go all the way to the bottom. Yeah? I think that's fair. I think it's honestly fair. Let's start with Trapper. Now, Trapper is really good in this game mode simply because he lets everybody do the gens, but because there's more people, naturally more people get hit by your traps. So that's something that's really good. However, the fact alone that he has no mobility, no map pressure, and he is heavily reliant on the other killer to get downs. Because he's so reliant on other killers to get his downs, he can't be above B tier. But that doesn't dismiss how good he is. He's honestly really good, but like, why would you ever play Chopper? That's the sad part about Chopper. Why would you ever play Chopper? He's reliant on other killers to do all of the dirty work. On top of that, the fact alone that you have to let survivors do 5 gens in order for you to be able to set up in time. And that's not letting go of the fact that survivors can still disarm your traps, which sucks. So no matter what, I have to put him up there. But I mean, he still gets massive buffs. He gets a bigger speed boost when he sets trap down. He sets traps down super quickly. He has 10 traps he can shut down. So like, in general, he's just better. But like, it's still Trapper, Alright, moving on to Wraith. And Wraith was one that I was kind of confused on where I would put him. I think he's really good. He has that sort of hit and run style where he can keep everybody injured so consistently. But at the same time, he has a harder time getting downs unless he's doing hit and run. So he supports a lot of other killers, such as Huntress, such as Spirit, such as Oni, such as Blight, and Wesker. All these mobility killers he supports really, really well. By himself, he's just not as good. On top of that, his buffs are one of the more substantial buffs. His Bing Bong is freaking fast, bro. It is incredibly fast, but the only reason I have to put him in A- tier is because he simply got outclassed. That's it. As keeping just going to go off gens. Yeah, so he's good at scaring people off gens. He's good at keeping people injured. Unless he's doing a hit and run play style and goes back to the survivor who are back on that gen healing, he's not going to get downs very easily, which sucks. But he's still incredibly good. He's so good at keeping survivors off gens. So good at keeping survivors injured. He has to be really good. It's just the fact that, 1, they nerfed him a little bit, and 2, he gets outclassed incredibly easily. On to Billy. And honestly, Billy's my main, right? He's my main in 2v8. He got hit hard this time. He got hit very, very hard this patch. The reason is because of this motherfucker right here. Because Ghostface is now in the game, there's a lot more trees, there's a lot more brushes, there's a lot more things to lean on, so Ghostface can get his lean stocks in. And because of that, Billy unironically takes a massive hit. Why? Because there's more shit in the way. Because there's more shit in the way, that instantly nerfs Billy by substantially. He still has amazing mobility, he still insta-downs, he still is one of the best killers in 2v8 to pick. It's just that he got nerfed this season, and on top of that, there's another killer that does what he does but better. He got outclassed severely this patch, and on top of getting outclassed, he's definitely not as good as he was before. In like version 2 of 2v8, he was probably like the best character in the game. So I think Billy is still one of the best characters in this game. Is he top 5? I don't know. I have to put the list together to find out, but he's still incredibly good. Nurse. Speaking of top 5, I think Nurse took a substantial hit this in 2v8 for one reason and one reason alone. She is the best 1v1 killer in the entire game. No questions asked. If you're looping against any one of these killers by themselves, except for maybe like, what, one? Maybe like Oni when he's in power. Nurse is the best. Nurse is the best at the 1v1. However, because there's more survivors, you have to cleave through more hit states. When you cleave through more hit states, you're constantly in cooldown a lot more. When you in cooldown a lot more, you're not pressuring someone across the map, like say with Billy. Like with Billy, if you slap someone with a chainsaw, go to the next person. With Nurse, you use your 2 blinks, you hit them, go through cooldown, go through cooldown, see where they're going. You teleport, okay, you missed that one, go through cooldown, go through cooldown. Hit them, down them, then you hook, and then you teleport. I think she took a hit in 2v8. She's definitely not a 2v8 killer. She's the queen of 1v4. In 2v8, she's just not the best. Because there's more survivors you have to just try to track and try to down. I'm gonna do something controversial here. I think Billy's better. Billy can cleave through more people more consistently than Nurse. Because, yeah, you're gonna get body blocks against good survivors. You're gonna get body blocks against Billy. And you can't really body block against Nurse. But you wanna know who else you can't body block against? Spirit, you know? Huntress. All these characters. And even then, guess what? It's not going to matter if you're paired up with a Legion. If you're paired up with a Legion, everyone's going to be injured anyway. Nurse feels slightly playable in 2v8. She feels very playable. But I'm telling you, if you're against a good Nurse, a Nurse with Legion is one of the best combos in the entire game. But I still think in a vacuum, she's ever so slightly better than Billy. Ever so slightly. So yeah, I'll keep it like that. These two are really close. I'll be honest. These two are really, really close. Huntress. Huntress is great. She is phenomenal even. She's amazing. Dare I say, busted. I don't think that she's top tier though. She's definitely not top tier. She cleaves through health states a lot more consistently. And if you pair her with like Wraith, with Legion, with Spirit, I think that you have really good combos. You can also pair it well with Deathslinger. One of the few pairings really well with Deathslinger. Simply because you don't have to travel all the way to the Deathslinger to be able to have an effect with that double hit. So I think in a vacuum she's really good. I don't think she's anywhere above this though. Why? Because she still has to reload. On top of that, she doesn't have good mobility. And similar to Billy, she took a massive hit with Ghostface's release. With Ghostface entering the game and them throwing a lot more shit in the map for Ghostface to lean on. She took a massive hit that way because there's just so much blocking. In fact, you know what? She might be at the top of B tier. I'll be honest. She's a very solid pick. She's really consistent. But it's just the fact that, she still has to reload. On top of having to reload, she took a massive hit with the release of Ghostface. So I think she's there at the time being. Who is next? We have Spirit, who's next. The most important group of killers to me is that top 5. There's like 2 or 3 that I'm confident in being top 5. And then there's like 2 or 3 that I'm just like, maybe. Spirit is that number 3. I'll be honest. I think she's incredibly good. I think she pairs better with other killers. Unlike Billy, unlike Nurse. She pairs better with Spirit. She pairs better with Huntress. She pairs better with Trapper even. Because she has almost no cooldown. Because she has no cooldown. And her cooldown has massive duration. She lasts so long, dude. So in that regard, when a survivor gets trapped in a trap. And, the Trapper's not nearby. But the Spirit isn't also not nearby. Spirit can still just travel all the way across the map. Pick him up. Boom. Done. And then by the time she's done picking up, she already has most of her cooldown back. So I think in terms of cooldown, she's one of the killers has the least amount of cooldown in the game. So like she pairs so well with so many other killers. She's one of the few pairings with Ghostface that's really, really good. So I think in that regard, she's one of the best. And in fact, I think she might be top 2, top 3 at least. I think if you're really, really good at the game and you want to be weird and sweat all the time, I think Nurse is probably one of the best killers you can pick, honestly. Speaking of best killers to pair with, I'm not gonna say anything about this one. Legion is broken. In the last 2v8, I think he was the best killer in the game. I'll be honest. The only counter to Legion was sitting on the pallet and hoping the Legion hit you. And so when the Legion hit you, you drop the pallet on them, they get into stun, and then they can, link that to anybody else. But guess what? You know what the counter is. The Legion's just gonna sit there and do nothing for the next 10 minutes. And the second you try and, run away from it, the Legion's just gonna stab you anyway. So it's literally just a play of who has the bigger balls. So, that's the one counter Legion. Other than that, Legion is so good. Not because by himself, but because he makes Spirit broken, Nurse broken, Wraith broken, Huntress broken, Oni broken, Slinger broken, Blight broken, Wesker broken. He is support. He is the best supporting killer in the entire game. No questions asked. The reason Wraith is down here is because Legion exists. Why would you play Wraith when Legion is so much better at keeping everybody injured? On top of keeping everybody injured and making everybody just so much better, when you play as Legion, you unironically counter both the heal class and the engineer's class. Because when you stab someone and they use their cooldown for engineer and, doing gens faster, guess what? They're too busy mending. They're not on generators. So in that regard, he has the best slowdown end of any killer in the entire fucking game. But he has the best slowdown in the entire game. On top of that, he keeps everybody injured so consistently, he has to be top 5 at least. He's incredibly good. The fact alone that the best combos in this game are Legion Oni, Legion Spirit, Legion Nurse, Legion Blight, Legion Wraith, Legion Huntress. Those are all the best combos in the game. So the fact alone that he has the best combos in the game, he has to be that good. And I haven't even got started with the next match. But Legion is incredibly good. And I'm going to save it there. I'm going to call it there. Because we're in a game now. And I have way too much to say about Oni. I have way too much to say about Oni.
A few moments later.
Alright. But anyways, distractions. Let's talk about Oni and my fucking opinions on this fucking character. When it came to introducing Oni, I thought they were going to nerf him a little bit. I thought they were going to nerf how often he got his power because of this motherfucker right here. Because there's more survivors, there's more chances for you to get M1s. Because there's more chances for you to get M1s, it is really easy to get your power. I thought they were going to nerf that. Needless to say, they fucking didn't. Because they didn't nerf it, and then they buffed every single aspect of what made Oni good. This killer's on a level of his own. Can someone convince me otherwise? You can play this character with every single character in this fucking game, and it will work. This character carries this game. He can dominate the best. Because using his power is not only super fucking easy because of how many buffs they gave him. They busted his speed, they busted his turn rate, they busted his duration, and they didn't take away how often you get your power. What the fuck were they thinking? When I first played Oni, I was like, wait, I get 2 hits and then I get the best power in the game. I can down 4 survivors? Are you serious? Like, why? They did not think that Oni threw out. They did not think Oni threw at all. The turn rate did not need a base kit. It was fine. It's not even that. It's just the fact that he gets his power so often. Like, imagine if Wesker literally had his power, but then no cooldown. Like, imagine if he got a hit with a survivor with his power, and then, he instantly had 3 of his tokens back. That's the equivalent of Oni, bro. No killer compares to the amount of cooldown he has other than maybe Spirit. Because Spirit gets her power a lot, and her duration is obnoxious, but at least she does an insta-down with it. Yeah, it's so good with Legion. It's funny on only slugs and Legion following the pickup and don't survivors. That is the best combo in the game. The best combo in the game is these 2 right here. The only other best combos is like Oni and Spirit, Oni and Wraith, Legion and Spirit, Legion and Nurse, and then Legion and Blight. Those are the only characters that come even remotely close to these 2 on the same team. Yeah, if they want to, keep what they have now, minus turn radius, if they subtract the turn radius, and then make it so he's harder, it takes more time, more blood to get his power, and it takes multiple hits. Like, if it took, 3 or 4 hits to get his power, then he would probably be here. I think Spirit would probably be ever so slightly better. But the fact is, he gets his power so often, it's the best power in the game, all those buffs to his power are substantial to the point where why'd you even run Billy, bro? It is immaculate how broken Oni is. He is the only killer I will ever agree to being in double S tier. Moving on. I got my yappers out. Now moving on to what, in my opinion, is the worst killer in 2v8. We got Ghostface. Ghostface isn't good. I don't think Ghostface is very good. The reason is because Ghostface doesn't pair well with Oni. He doesn't pair well with Legion. He doesn't pair well with Nurse, Billy, Huntress, Trapper, and Nemesis, in my opinion. So, like, he has a lot of counterintuitive powers because of that insta-down. The best thing you have going for you is the fact that, you have Stealthy. The fact you're Stealthy honestly helps a lot, I won't lie. On top of having no chase power, I like the idea of being able to have multiple killers insta-down, but if they're gonna do that, they need to make it so Nurse's, Blink counts as an M2. No matter what they do to Ghostface, he's always just gonna be bad. He's just gonna be bad. Because he's only good against oblivious survivors. I agree and disagree. I think he can be good if you pair him unironically with, like, Slinger. Like, the one thing keeping him from, like, C tier down here is the fact that he pairs really well with Spirit. And Spirit, for me, who is the second best killer in this game mode, I honestly think that's what carries him. And I think Ghostface also pairs well with Wraith. Like, all the M1 killers, he works really, really well with. And on top of that, why did they nerf the length on the insta-down? They didn't nerf anything about Oni, but they nerfed the insta-down on one of the worst killers in the game, bar Trapper, bar Skull Merchant. If they kept Ghostface's, like, 1 minute long insta-down, he would still maybe be here. Like, dude, at best. This thing is unfortunately not great. I agree with Zombies, he should be 4.6. Yeah, I want to hear from gaming about this one. Because honestly, I think in terms of all the, like, the brute force killers, the killers who are known for damaging really consistently, I think this thing's the worst, I'll be honest. He's like here. He's like down here with these guys. Why? Because Slinger doesn't really pair well with any other of the killers. He pairs well with killers who can damage from afar or have really high mobility. He pairs well with Spirit, pairs well with Legion so he can actually get downs more consistently. He pairs well with Wraith for the same reason. Pairs well with Billy, because Billy can just zoom across the map and get that insta-down right then and there. Pairs well with Huntress to a lesser extent. Pairs well with Ghostface. But this just doesn't pair well with a lot of other killers very well. He was great when he came out because of Billy. I still disagree. I still think he wasn't very good when he came out. So, like, I still think he's very good in terms of, like, the B- tier killers. He's definitely, like, the top of these killers right here. But, like, you have zero reason to run Slinger over all the other killers. If you want to run a slow killer who can damage people from afar, you run Huntress, honestly. If you want to run Slinger because you want to disrespect pallets, you run Nemesis, dude. Honestly. And even then, Nemesis is infinitely better because of the zombies. The zombies are immaculately better in 2v8 than 1v4. Because the zombies are constantly kicking survivors off gens, constantly slowing them down. I think just Slinger's just he's just bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it at that, I think. Going from, you know, top tier to bottom tier to bottom tier to top tier. Moving on to one of the best killers in the game, and who I think is in top 5 in the game. We got the boy. We got Meatball Man. I think he's top 5. I'll be honest. I think Blight is incredibly good in this game mode. Pair him with not Wraith. Pair him with Oni. Pair him with Spirit, Legion. He pairs so well with most killers in the game because of just how amazing his mobility is. Yeah, that cooldown kinda sucks. I'll be honest. He kinda sucks, the mobility. But the fact is, the mobility helps you more times than it doesn't. If you're good with Billy and Chase, you're going to get your downs in 3 anyway. And on top of that, your cooldown by the time you hook a survivor is going to be back anyway. So I think he's literally incredibly good. I don't think he has the support of Legion. And because of that cooldown, I think Spirit's better. But he's still top 5 in my opinion. I think he's better than Billy simply because Billy is 1, harder. And 2, doesn't pair very well with other killers. Like, you can pair Billy well with, like, what? Trapper, I guess. Trapper, Slinger, Inoni, I guess. I think Blight is top 5, and we'll keep him right there for the time being. Okay, on to the next, we got Nemi Boy. Nemesis is good. He's really good. He's fantastic even. He got buffed. He is very buffed in this game mode. The slowdown lasts a lot longer, so you're more inclined to use your tentacle. On top of that, he can disrespect pallets a lot. And that's what makes him incredibly good. On top of that, you have the zombies. The zombies are always going to be super consistent. For the most part. Why are they consistent? Because they're constantly bugging more survivors than not. They're constantly kicking survivors off gens. And that's why I think, you know, Nemesis is on the cusp of A- tier and B tier. However, he has a mobility. He can't really down survivors from super far away like Huntress. He's kind of map reliant. And he's not necessarily like omega good in chase unless you get into like tier 2 and tier 3. But the only reason I think he is better than Huntress is because of the zombies. The zombies make it so you can be at multiple places at a time. And on top of that, you can also use them for base kit information. So, you know, if a zombie's going rah at a survivor on a gen, the ability can just right over there and insta down them. The Oni, when he gets empowered, just right over there and insta down. Blight be all like, oh, bad, goes over there, gets a hit. Spirit goes over there, gets a hit. You know? So I think, you know, in that regard, he pairs really well with a lot of these killers. It's just that by himself, if you took away the zombies, Dead actually probably be like right here or maybe even here. I think Deathslinger might be better if you took away the zombies. It's just the fact that the zombies are such good tools in 2v8 specifically that I think he has to be at least in the top of B tier, at least there. And on top of that, he's nowhere near as like map reliant as Huntress in my opinion. Although I will say Huntress pairs a little bit better with other killers like Slinger and Legion. And the other big boon about Nemesis is that he doesn't pair well with Legion in my opinion. He is the only killer in this game that I don't think does well with Legion. I'll be honest. Why? Because you have to double hit. Double hit is counterintuitive. It really costs you a lot of distance in this game mode. Oh, and last, but definitely the least, we got Wesker. Wesker, back then, I think was probably top 3 in the game. Like, if we're talking the 2v8 before this one, I think it was like Legion, Blight, Wesker. Because they ended up buffing Spirit a lot. And because Spirit also pairs super well with Oni, I think that's why Spirit, I think, is better. That cooldown does kind of fucking suck, though. I'll be honest. That cooldown does kind of blow. Because when you get a hit with your power and you're on your third lunge, you go through a lengthy cooldown. And that cooldown, I just can't put him in the same level of Billy and Nurse. Because Nurse has a better cooldown and Billy has a much better cooldown and can insta-down. Wesker has a little bit of slowdown, which is kind of nice. But it's nowhere near on the level of, say, like Legion. Actually having a chase power unlike Legion. It's just that cooldown that bothers me. That's the only thing that keeps him sort of like right here. He could be here, but I just don't think he is. I think he's in the same level of Wraith. I think Wraith gets hits more consistently. I think Wesker's amazing. I don't know how they could make Wesker compete with all of these killers up top. But yeah, so with that said, this is my 2v8 killer tier list. So I'm gonna honestly, because we're still waiting for a match, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna change this to killers who I think are most likely to get into 2v8 would be Trickster. It's kind of sad to think about, but Skull Merchant. Skull Merchant has a high chance. Dredge, not so much. I think Unknown has a better chance of getting in. Houndmaster has a good chance of getting in. And I don't want to say Singularity doesn't. With that said, there you have it. We have the unofficial 2v8 tier list.